Hello everyone, it's Elizabeth here at Out in the Breck with Ian. Hope you're all doing well and thanks very much for watching this video. Okay, this is another video that we wanted to publish to show again how biased and one-sided the John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times in particular are with their news reporting. These two newspapers have covered the civil action we brought against Network Rail and the criminal case that's been brought against us from the beginning, and they never hesitate to report on the allegations that have been made against us. As most of you will know from our video update the other day, we appeared at Wick Sheriff Court this week for our criminal case on the 2nd of September. The outcome of that appearance was that our trial was adjourned until the 11th of November. The right next day, true to form, the John O'Groats Journal published an article reporting on our criminal case. But in this article, they've claimed that we now face a charge of contempt of court. Then today, we come across another news article published by the Northern Times with the headline, "Out in the Breck pair face contempt charge over alleged recording of court proceedings." So we wanted to put the record straight by doing this video. So just to make it clear to everybody watching, we've not been charged with contempt of court. This is untrue. They've reported saying that we face a charge for contempt of court. Now, if anybody understands how the Scottish legal system works, the only authority that can bring charges against people is the Crown, the Procurator Fiscal. So let's make it clear, we've not been charged with contempt of court. We should know, we were there at Wick Sheriff Court on the day, and I think we would have known if we'd been charged with contempt of court.
Okay everyone, just to pause there, the rain's really starting to come down now. We're going to switch inside, we're going to go inside and continue the video, guys. Just hang on a sec, the rain's really coming down. Okay everyone, we've moved into the living room at Station House here, so we're just looking out of the window at the living room. You can see how close we are to the track and the platform, just right here in front of us. So Elizabeth's going to continue where she left off now.
Yeah, hi everyone, thanks very much for bearing with us there. Okay, just a quick recap, as we were saying before we had to stop the video, that the Northern Times and the John O'Groats Journal have again published false information about me and Ian, and we wanted to bring that out into the open and put the record straight with our own video. So they're claiming falsely that we've been charged with contempt of court, and that's untrue. So to make it clear, the only charges that me and Ian face, which we've pleaded not guilty to and we're awaiting trial for, are charges of what's known as culpable recklessness, which is a common law offence, and statutory breach of peace. They are the only charges that we face, and that is the correct situation. So some people may have seen that the civil case that we brought against Network Rail was listed on the court rolls for the same day as our criminal case on the 2nd of September. As most of you will know who've been following our channel, this civil action was dismissed on procedural grounds by Sheriff Neil Wilson on the 27th of May this year. However, this civil case, some of you may have seen, was listed on the rolls as a procedural hearing for the 2nd of September. We left the court as soon as Sheriff Lindsay, who was presiding over the hearing on Tuesday, as soon as he fixed a new trial date for our criminal case. So we have no idea about what happened at the procedural hearing. Now apparently, Network Rail's solicitors Brodie's was in attendance for that hearing, but we didn't see Brodie's at court that day, did we?
No, we didn't. They weren't there, and neither were they. It said on the interlocutor that they weren't there the previous time. It said they did not attend. Okay, guys, just wanted to show you this document here, the interlocutor. As you can see here, the Ian Appleby plus Elizabeth Howe versus Network Rail Infrastructure Limited. The case number WCK A1024, Wick, 24th of July 2025, Sheriff Sutherland D, and then we've got I Appleby absent, E Howe absent, Brodie's solicitors absent. So you can see here it says the sheriff, there being no appearance by either party, continues the cause to an in-person procedural hearing to the 2nd of September 2025 at 10 a.m. within Wick Sheriff Court, Bridge Street, blah blah blah. Directs the sheriff clerk to intimate this interlocutor to all parties. So, you know, this is a dismissed case. The Network Rail case was dismissed long ago, yet they're trying to veneer it and make it look like a procedural hearing. And Brodie's have never been present since it was dismissed.
That's right. They're just, Wick Sheriff Court are trying to purport to the public that the dismissed civil action is still live.
That's right,
and
it's not.
It's not. Right, so again, we were there at Wick Sheriff Court on Tuesday and we didn't see Brodie's solicitors there.
And they weren't there last time. Why would they be there? A dismissed civil case, a dismissed action. It's nonsensical.
So therefore, we've got to ask the question: why is the information that Brodie's solicitors for Network Rail were at this procedural hearing, but yet we didn't see them there? We'd like you to ask yourselves this question: why is Wick Sheriff Court still listing a civil action that was dismissed months ago and purporting to the public that it's still a live case? What's really going on here? And more importantly, what are they trying to hide from the public? So going back to the biased newspapers, John O'Groats Journal, and we're identifying John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times in particular because they have repeatedly reported on the issues here out the Breck and reported factually incorrect information on regular occasions. I've had to write to the editor of John O'Groats Journal asking him to amend inaccurate facts that he's reported in these articles. So yet again, the John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times have printed falsehoods about us, falsely claiming that we've been charged with contempt of court when we have not. Also, if you read the articles for yourselves, and we'll put the links in for them, and we do encourage you to read the full articles themselves for yourself, you'll see that they've reported that Sheriff Neil Wilson, the sheriff that was also sitting on our criminal case until recently, has recused himself due to perceived bias. Again, for those of you who do not know, Sheriff Neil Wilson is the same sheriff who was sitting on the civil action we brought against Network Rail, and it was him who dismissed our case on procedural grounds because we refused to attend a hearing.
Maybe we should just mention as well that he was the same sheriff sitting on the case against our neighbour that was in the newspapers over a torture chamber and over 345 videos of evidence were watched. And our neighbour just received a travel ban. It's the same sheriff that sat on that case, yeah?
That's right, and that was recently published in the last few months.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times do not give the reason why Sheriff Wilson had to recuse himself from sitting on our criminal case due to perceived bias? They didn't give a reason why that was, did they? So, in the interest of transparency and openness, we'll tell you the reason why. The reason why Sheriff Neil Wilson had to recuse himself from sitting on our criminal case due to perceived bias is because we've made criminal allegations against him in relation to his involvement in our civil action against Network Rail. We've decided to take the extraordinary step of petitioning the High Court for a bill for criminal letters in order to seek a private criminal prosecution against Sheriff Neil Wilson. Now, this is a rare legal process in Scotland that allows ordinary members of the public like me and Ian to seek a private criminal prosecution. We've lodged hard evidence, and we will describe it as that, with the High Court of Judiciary in support of our petition. Obviously, we can't go into details about the allegations and the evidence, but the public do have a right to know that criminal allegations have been brought against a sitting Scottish sheriff. And they have a right to know that this petition hearing is due to take place on the 19th of September at the High Court of Judiciary in Edinburgh. The fact that a bench of 3 judges will consider whether a criminal prosecution should proceed shows just how serious and unusual this step is. Surely that's newsworthy. Again, the public has a right to know when questions are raised about accountability in the judiciary, but the media is silent on this issue. Justice must be open. I would hope that everybody watching our video would agree with that principle. It's a cornerstone of the rule of law. But again, have you noticed that the mainstream news, like John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times, the Times newspaper and the Daily Mail, they're quick to cover and publish criminal allegations made about ordinary people like me and Ian. But when 2 ordinary people like us take the unheard of step of petitioning the High Court to bring a private criminal prosecution against a sitting Scottish sheriff through the grant of a bill for criminal letters, there's silence in the news. So why is it that the John O'Groats Journal, the Northern Times and other news outlets haven't reported that in just 2 weeks' time, the High Court of Judiciary will hear a petition relating to criminal allegations connected to a sitting sheriff? If open justice means anything, it means the public should know when hearings of this magnitude and importance are taking place so that the public themselves can follow it. Why is the silence by the newspapers? What does that say about accountability for those in positions of trust and authority? And just to reiterate, to seek to bring a private criminal prosecution against a sitting sheriff in Scotland is unprecedented. As far as we know, this has never happened before in Scottish legal history. This news is clearly and without question in the public interest. So why don't newspapers like John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times want you to know that criminal allegations have been made against a sitting Scottish sheriff? We'll let you make your own mind up about that. The media has a duty to shine a light on those in power. But from where we're standing, it seems that they want to keep this hidden from the public. Well, we won't stay silent, and we won't allow this to be hidden from the public. It's important to us that the principles of transparency, openness, and open justice are adhered to. The newspapers want to keep the public in the dark whenever a story challenges their agenda. They edit, they manipulate, and they mislead. They want to control the narrative so you never see the full picture, and that's what's happening here at Out in the Breck. That's what John O'Groats Journal and the Northern Times and the other news outlets are doing. They're trying to control the narrative so that you, the public, don't really know what's happening at Out in the Breck, and you're not getting the full picture, which is why it's absolutely necessary that we do this. And we've run this channel so that we bring information to you that you're not being told about. Thank God for citizen journalism and for the right to freedom of expression, because that right allows ordinary people like us to speak out and to shine a light on the issues the newspapers won't touch if it doesn't fit their agenda, just like in this situation. What matters most is the truth. Justice must be open, justice must be transparent, and justice should be for everyone. Everyone, we really strongly encourage you to attend this hearing on the 19th of September at the High Court of Judiciary. Now, you can attend, obviously, if you're local to Edinburgh or close by, you can attend that hearing in person if you prefer. But I also think there's an option that you can attend online using their online platform called WebEx. We really encourage you to watch this hearing. The way to do it is to email the High Court of Judiciary, specifically the Solemn Appeals Department. What we'll do, we'll pin a comment in this video for you with the information that you'll need, along with the email address that you need to email to, along with the information you need to give to them so that you get the right link and the information for the hearing. So again, we encourage you to come along, and we thank all of our supporters and our followers for standing by us, and we'll continue speaking the truth. Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, and don't forget everyone, when this has been in the High Court of Judiciary, this hearing, if you can't attend the court, make sure you look at the case. Make sure you get access, that you have a right to access the evidence that we'll be submitting to this case at some point.
That's right. The evidence that we've lodged in support of our petition, it obviously will be presented during the course of the hearing on the 19th of September. But like Ian said, if you can't attend that hearing for whatever reason, we strongly encourage you to get hold of the paperwork and the information about the evidence.
Yeah, the evidence is black and white, and it leaves no reason for a doubt what happened in Wick Sheriff Court. Thanks everyone.
Take care.
Take care then. Bye.
Bye bye.